This was a huge song when it came out in '86. Princess, early Stock Aitken and Waterman. Same, your number one. Scott Mills until Spoonie in for Sarah at 4, and next it's Phil Collins.
This is Radio 2
on BBC Sounds
and on your smart speaker.
Play BBC Radio 2.
BBC News at 3 o'clock. This is Mike Powell. In the past few minutes, the Oscar-winning actor Kevin Spacey has been found not guilty of charges of sexual offences. He's been on trial at Southwark Crown Court on 9 charges against 4 men between 2004 and 2013. He was artistic director at the Old Vic Theatre in London at the time. Rishi Sunak has been giving evidence at the public inquiry into the infected blood scandal. Around 3,000 people died after being given blood contaminated with HIV and hepatitis in the 1970s and 80s. Mr. Sunak was questioned about the delays in paying compensation to victims and their families and said action had been taken as soon as he became Prime Minister.
Days afterwards, interim payments were made to around 4,500 people. £100,000 each. In December, as you mentioned, that was a couple of months after I was Prime Minister, for the first time ever in decades, first time any government accepted the moral case for compensation.
Junior doctors in England have announced a 4-day strike next month in their ongoing pay dispute. They'll walk out from the 11th to the 15th of August. The government has said the pay offers put to public sector workers earlier this month are final and there will be no further talks. The City Minister, Andrew Griffith, has said banks must learn lessons from the row over the closure of Nigel Farage's accounts. The Minister has spoken to lenders after NatWest's Chief Executive, Dame Alison Rose, stepped down shortly after admitting she was the source of an inaccurate story about the reasons for the action against Mr. Farage. The businesswoman and socialite Countess Alexandra Tolstoy says she had her NatWest bank account closed without explanation earlier this year.
It has been unbelievably stressful to the point I don't sleep, just completely, terrified. I've got 3 children. Their father doesn't support them. How do I work my business? How do I rent my home? I have gone to a digital bank and I'm just praying that they're not going to use the same. I don't know what their reasoning is, but whatever their data is.
In a statement, NatWest said it treated compliance with legal and regulatory requirements as a priority, which could mean delays, suspensions and restrictions on some accounts. The government has been heavily criticised in a report by MPs for underestimating the growth of Russia's Wagner mercenary group. The Cross-Party Foreign Affairs Committee has described the UK's efforts to sanction those linked to the network as underwhelming in the extreme and accused the government of a dismal lack of understanding of the group's global hold. The committee chair, Alicia Kearns, says she believes the Wagner group has fallen in a government blind spot.
It took 6 weeks for the government to decide which government department was going to give evidence to us. And then once the minister gave evidence to us, he couldn't tell us whether they were a private military corporation. They couldn't tell us that they were part of the Russian state. They couldn't tell us the effect they were trying to achieve. They couldn't tell us if they had anyone beyond someone in the Russia unit looking at the Wagner group. We need someone who's looking at this in the conflict centre.
BBC News, it's 3 minutes past 3.
Radio 2, Scott Mills. BBC Radio 2.